all of you in this fantastic webinar. Uh, we are just going to request everyone to kindly mute yourself so that the background noise is preventing us from getting disturbed. But yeah, a very warm welcome. The program for the day is extremely simple. What we are going to start off is with a little bit of a background and context, which I will provide. And after that, we will get very quickly on to the main task of the day, which is a panel discussion with some of our esteemed panelists. And we are here to basically address some of the very burning questions that we are all facing on a day-to-day basis. And while South Africa faces the larger problem of poverty, inequality, and unemployment, one of the most pressing of these three issues is that of unemployment. Even within unemployment, the matter is even more burning when it comes to youth unemployment. As much as the overall unemployment is close to 25%, some say even 35%, but the glaring problem is that of youth unemployment, which has gone as high as 65 to 70%. And this is a serious challenge for us as a country, and it needs a variety of solutions. These solutions are not something that I think one entity alone could probably achieve, but it's a combination of many stakeholders working together. And that is the reason why BizFarm and Youth at Work, my co-facilitator, Erica, who's joining and smiling as you see, uh, we got together and we said, hang on, can we make this conversation beyond just the two of us? And can we make this conversation which is more broader to bring other stakeholders on board if we can? And that is what got us to where we are today. And we thought, let us bring on board some of the stakeholders. Let us have a conversation around how this issue could be discussed. Let us together work to put our minds together on finding solutions. So the objective of today's conversation is very solution focused. It's result oriented. We hope it's not a talk shop, but we hope that this is the beginning of something which is substantial for us to work together on. So with that, allow me for a couple of moments to provide the microphone to Erica to give us a round of welcome, probably set a little bit of context, and then we kick off the day with the panelists to come on board. Once again, I request those who have not muted, unless you're a speaker, to kindly put your microphone on mute, please. May I request Dineo to please manage this in the background. Thank you. And over to you, Erica. How did this whole thing go about? Please tell us about that.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very, very much for your time, for your interest, for your commitment to youth employment. So thank you very much, Atul, for being the driver behind this, for really thinking about it, worrying about this at night, thinking about what can we collectively do in order to create more employment opportunities or to match opportunities better. I'd also really like to welcome our few guest speakers. I'd like to welcome Farai. Thank you very much, Farai, for your time, and I will be handing over to you after this before we go into the big panel, because Farai's got a lot of experience. She connects with a lot of young people. She is very young still herself, and she's done amazing work and is still doing amazing work. So really to share your insights on what makes youth more employable and what gives young people the intro into those working opportunities and career pathings. I'd also like to welcome our other panelists, which is Thidi, who is managing the recruitment on our side, and she's got a lot of insights, speaking to a lot of young people, how they prepare themselves for job opportunities, and whether they get them or not once they've applied. How they apply themselves in the interviews and in the preparation, which I think is often a barrier to employment, is really just even getting that first step in the door. Then we've got Sabelo, who's a very experienced provincial coordinator, who looks at once you've got into the workplace, how do you conduct yourself and remain employed? So employability also looks about retention and remaining employed, which for some really is a challenge. We're also very happy to welcome Lita. And Lita has also been, he's also still very young. He's been on the program, on the YES program, but he has opted for self-employment. And there are reasons for self-employment and there are pathways into self-employment. And how did he transition? Why did he choose that? What opportunities has it presented? And how sustainable is that? So there are some of the panelists, and Atul, you will please introduce others who I've left out. But just to contextualize, is that Youth at Work's purpose is really to allow more and more young people to transition into meaningful quality work experiences and to remain economically active beyond the program. And one, we would like to expand it. We would like to expand the program, which is looking at employability generally. Two, we would like the retention rate to be high. So those people who come onto the program, that they really benefit and remain there for 12 months. And three, we need to increase the continued employment beyond a 12-month program. And what does that need? And I think that speaks to Atul's question. How employable are you, for example, into your local school versus the job market? So there's all sorts of levels of community employment, employment beyond community, into corporate and into self-employment. So this session is recorded. It is recorded so that we can learn from it. As Atul said, that it's not just a talk shop, but that we can learn from it, that young people can learn from it, and that we, as in working in the space, can also possibly get new ideas, new methodology, other approaches, so that we can escalate employability of young people. So with that as an intro, I'd like to then hand over, or Atul, sorry, would you please introduce any other panelists?
Sure, absolutely. Erika, thank you very much for that setting of context and kicking off. I think a good way for us to get started is with the panelists doing their own introduction. I probably might not do as much justice as they probably would do. And I know that most of them have very impressive CVs and fantastic backgrounds, but let's contextualize their introduction to the specific issue that we are discussing in today's times. And then after that, we will kick off and progress with a few questions, which are the burning issues. May I also suggest that we have a chat going on the side. So if you would like, as participants, raise some issues, even introduce yourself, pitch your businesses, it's a great time to network in that sense as well. So we will continue that, because it's about work. It's about decent work for all the people. And if some of you have adopted the entrepreneurial path, as I see Takatsu from Corona Communications or Cervalo from Columbia Leadership, please introduce yourselves like they have done. Please make yourselves known. If you have something busy going on in the background, then of course you can mute your camera, and that might help save some bandwidth as well. So Erika, may I then in that case request our panelists, as you have mentioned, to kindly introduce themselves in about 2 minutes. And when you finish your introduction, please pass the baton to the next panelist, if you don't mind. Yeah, so let's start with Farai, because she was the one who was referred to at the beginning. Farai, please take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and a very good afternoon to everyone who has joined the webinar. My name is Farai Mubaiwa. I am the African Livelihoods and Education Lead at Accenture Development Partnerships. In my previous roles, I've worked for the Youth Employment Service as well as for Youth Health Africa. Like Erika mentioned, I'm a young person myself who has the passion for seeing young Africans prosper. And this means that we have to ensure that we equip ourselves with skills that the market needs. This also means that we have to be proactive in how we position ourselves, but also how we can explore some opportunities for entrepreneurship as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to this conversation this afternoon, and I'd like to hand over to the next member of the panel.
Thank you. Do we have Sabelo in the house?
Yeah, but we've got CD who will be next. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Matsidi Sontibire. I am a recruitment officer at Youth at Work. I also started here as a year's intern. Then I got a permanent employment in March. Then, yeah, it is very challenging to work with young people, but I learn every day new skills on also improving myself on the recruitment. yeah, it's very challenging to find the right candidates, but then yeah, I'm improving every day, learning every day with the help of Erica and my team here at Youth at Work. Yes, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to learn more on this meeting. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tsidi. Lita or Sabelo? Oh, okay, so we'll move on then. I see they still have got challenges logging in, so they'll be here now. Okay, then I think that is it, Atul, or are there any others?
Yeah, we have a couple of
You
our
mute?
colleagues from BizFarm. We have some of our, am I still on mute?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Sure. Okay, so we also have some colleagues from BizFarm. I have Dikshita in the background, and I have Nonila, who's our resident mentor, but they'll come in a little bit later. I think let us kick off probably with Farai. And Farai, I think I don't want to put you on the spot, but coming from a private sector, corporate kind of a background, the economic growth has a direct implication when it comes to having a large number of economically active youth. Question is it the what is the reason why we have such a large pool of unemployed youth? Is it the economic growth, or in your mind are there any other more factors which is what is driving the high and large number of youth employment? Farai.
Thanks, Atul. I think that the question you've asked is so important, but it's also a thesis question at that, because of the complexities which exist within the system. Like you've said, the reality is it's twofold. On the one hand, we have got a youth boom, not only in South Africa, but across the continent. On the other hand, we've got high levels of youth unemployment. And where a country or nations have got youth boom, we should be seeing the opposite. We should be seeing a larger working force population that can ensure that they are economically active, that they contribute. But that's unfortunately not the reality. And if we deep dive into the stats, the quarterly labor force survey released in Q1 of this year highlighted that young people between the ages of 15 to 24 had an official unemployment rate of 62%. We then look at young people between the ages of 25 to 34 who have the official unemployment rate of. This one is sound. What we also find is that your graduates do also have higher levels of your unemployment, but with your graduates, the percentage each time the quarterly labor force survey comes out remains more or less the same. But that is the case for your university graduates. With your TVET graduates, we do see lesser levels of labor market absorption. And that is, I mean, there's a whole lot of issues which would align with that. It's not only a South African problem. Across the continent, young people account for about 60% of your unemployed groups, and that's across the continent. So we are facing a crisis in terms of how we can employ young people. On the other hand, we have a youth boom where 70% of the population of sub-Saharan Africa is under age 30. In fact, the African Union estimates that we've got over 400 million young people between 15 and 35 years old. And UNICEF has estimated that the population side for Africans under 18 will increase by 170 million by 2030. So this just shows you that we've got this youth boom. And in fact, across the continent, 10 million young people enter the labor market each year. But where we have the crisis is for a number of reasons. One could say it is looking at what the economic climate is, and the private sector has definitely felt the economic climate over the past few years, especially this year. We've seen across the globe there have been retrenchments across lots of your companies because of what the economy is looking like. But if we zoom into South Africa, it is not just the economic issues. It's also aspects like the skills mismatch. So a lot of the skills young people gain don't match what it is that your employers want. And one of the main reasons for that would be what we refer to as information asymmetries, whereby as a young person, I think I know what are the skills I need to be employed, whereas corporates are saying something so different. And so how do we then fix that mismatch? A classic case in point would be the tourism sector. You have a lot of young people who would go to your TVET to get the diploma in tourism. But what your tourism sector is really looking for is people who have got your project management skills, people who have got different hospitality skills. So how do we deal with the information asymmetries between your employees and your employers? Another thing that we also see is the misalignment with high growth sectors. And so there's a lot of high growth sectors out there, but perhaps the information is not shared widely enough to young people, where we are saying, get yourself up IT skills, because that is a fast growing sector within South Africa and across the globe. But also as young people, are we researching what these high growth sectors look like so that we can position ourselves within those sectors? The last thing to also touch on is a lack of experience. A lot of corporates have young people stuck in the experience trap, where you can't get a job without work experience, but you can't get work experience without a job. And a lot of young people find themselves so discouraged. And it's always my encouragement to say volunteer, because volunteering is still quality work experience because of the tangible skills that you gain. So Atul, like I said in the beginning, definitely a thesis question, so many nuances, so many complexities, but I hope the picture that I have painted highlights that we are at the intersection of an opportunity and a crisis, and it has to take the efforts between the private sector, government, NGOs, as well as young people themselves to make sure that our youth boom is an economic opportunity rather than an economic burden.
Thank you, Farai. I see Erica's hand is up, and clearly Farai has summarized the point that we are not reaping the demographic dividend that Africa as a continent has to offer. There's much to be done. So Erica, after your comments, we will then go to Litha and discuss about the skills aspect of life. So Erica, to you now.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Farai, for contextualizing that so well. And I just want to add in that there are some things that are in the control of young people, and there are other things that are out of the control of young people. And we can then play the blame game. We can sit back and say, but I didn't. Or we can rise into seeing that youth take on the challenge of reaching their potential on their own. And what I mean by that is, despite a poor education system. So we know that the failing education system is really one of the fundamental aspects of why young people are not employable, is because the base education is so poor. The other thing is that the mismatch of qualifications that are around at TVET colleges and at universities. For example, something like public administration, or you mentioned tourism, Farai, is those courses are outdated. They are outdated. The skills that are taught over there are nowhere near what we are needing now. The time it takes for new qualifications to come into the market. I mean, we were at a solar installation plant in Richards Bay a few weeks ago. Well, there's such a boom at the moment. There are many jobs in the solar sector. However, there's no qualification on that. So if currently we don't have a qualification and we're only starting to see what that qualification would look like, it means in 5 years' time, at an absolute minimum, the fastest turnaround, we will have a qualification, which by that stage will be 5 years out of date. So the message is very, very loud and clear. The world is changing so rapidly. Technology is advancing so quickly that we cannot, as institutions or establishments, prepare young people quick enough. So it is really, the opportunity is for you as a person to say, like Farai said, research, which sectors are there jobs? What specific skills do I need to have for this job? And then how do I upskill myself in order to be employable or self-employed within that sector? So the opportunity really is here for young people to say, let's go out of the norm. We're not going to follow the normal paths of this path versus that path to that path. We're now going to jump and piggyback and move around so that we are employable because of the skills that we are attaining on our own, online, and not only at institutions. So there is a high responsibility that we are handing down. We're simply handing that responsibility down because we have not been able to respond adequately to prepare young people for the ever-changing world. And I fear that the changes are so rapid and so drastic. I mean, with COVID, there were so many massive changes that happened. With pandemics, with crises all over, the changes are rapid and quick and drastic, that young people will really have to take that challenge up and not say, I can't because, but rather I'll try and because I can up there. So I'd just like to add that in.
Sure. Thanks, Erica, for that. And I think we build on this point of the changing world of work and upskilling youth. And I'm noting some of the hands which are there, but let me take it after the current speaker who's going to come on board, which is Letha, addresses. So Letha, what I wanted to ask you was this, that the world of work is changing so rapidly. What implications in your view does it have in terms of upskilling our work, our youth, specifically as a responsibility for the youth themselves, but also at a larger level for our educational institutions? Letha, over to you.
Sorry,
Okay,
Letha, you're muted.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Letha Semsem, and I'm serving as a project manager and one of the co-founders at Blockchain Mobile Library. What a question. Okay. I think one of the most important things that we really need to put in place is to acknowledge, and also embrace the traditional ways that we've used before digital came into place. One of the most important things that we need to do, and for our young people in under-resourced communities, is to make sure that we embrace the traditional ways and we make sure that we uplift those ways as well, because I don't believe that digital is digital without the traditional ways, So it is important to make sure that as much as we're moving to be this technological future, we need to make sure that we all go together. There's no one who's left behind. And one of the main challenges for young people in such environments is that they don't have like proper skills. They don't have really skills that can uplift themselves or uplift their communities. So what is important is that I think, in my case, that before we introduce digital, or maybe let's say fourth industrial revolution into our communities or into our continents, we need to make sure that young people, they are equipped when it comes to developing their communities. Because one of the main really sad things that I've been witnessing now is that most young people, they don't feel comfortable at working in their own environments. They always want to go and work outside their communities, And with that perspective, we don't get to understand or to get the importance of working within our environments. Because like after COVID-19 or during COVID-19, it really showed us that it is important as a community to come together and realize what type of resources do we have as a community, and what creative ways can we do to develop those resources, and sustain our communities without going out, And I think now that the technology is coming in, it is most importantly, obviously, to infuse that and teach young people on how to firstly use these equipments. For instance, you give a young person a computer. That young person is not even equipped to use Microsoft Word. They don't even know how to use Excel. So it is important that when we also provide them with these certain resources, we teach them how to utilize these resources so that they can make their lives better, and most importantly, use efficiently. Because another thing that I've been experiencing as a young person working in a growing organization or in huge organizations like Youth at Work, AVA, Life Matters, and other organizations is that we do get resources, but the main part is that we can't sustain the resources because we don't know how to. So another thing that is really important that we need to look at, my fellow colleagues, is that we need to look at the part of the sustaining these resources, and how can we as young people play that part, because it's still part of us to actually sustain the resources that we get. As you know, that we've been blessed to work with Youth at Work and be one of the organizations in Western Cape that is selling and administering the youth profiler system in different schools and in different ECDs. And for my challenge that I see now is that, yes, young children, they are really interested and they're looking forward to use and be part of the learner profiler, but they can't use the computers. You know, they know the answers on the screen, but again, they can't use their mouse to actually go and answer that. So it is important for us as well to be equipped in that manner, so that we know how to teach young people how to use these devices, so that they can be able to use the devices to show and showcase what they feel. Because I feel like it's expressing. Yes, I was looking for that word, so that they can use these devices to express themselves more. You know, because what I've seen is that most young people, they are not that they are lazy or they don't know the answers. They know the answers, but the building block or the barrier is that they don't know how to use this certain device to actually tell the answers or share their answers. So yeah, I will share that part.
Thank you, Lita. That was very insightful, and that is very clearly building on what, in fact, Farai was talking, that the change of skills is really becoming a challenge for the youth to stay updated. So I wanted to ask CD, who's more at the rock face of youth unemployment, youth employment as well, for that matter. Is CD, can you maybe shed some light on what are the kind of skills that you are experiencing that young people find of benefit when it comes to becoming economically productive, as in either getting a job, starting their own business, or finding any kind of work? What kind of skills, in your view, CD, are those which make a youth employable? And if I may also ask, how can these skills be imparted? Because this is something which we have to work out as a system outside the traditional education classroom kind of a system. So yeah, back to you, CD.
Okay, thank you so much, Atul. I think if our youth can make a research before they can start applying to universities to see what is exactly needed out there, because like Erica just said, that other courses are outdated. Now, most of the jobs that are available are under solar. So before they can apply in universities, I think it's very important to also do job shadowing to find out exactly what is needed out there. Because you'll find out most of them just apply because it is the only course that is available. They end up being unemployed. Another thing, you end up doing something that you don't enjoy because you saw your aunt being a nurse, then you decided to go through that path. So I think making a research is very important before you can study anything. Don't just do it because it was the only thing that is available. Another thing, associating yourself with the right people. I see most of people coming to youth at work or thing at the age of 15, 16, finding out exactly, is this something that I will really enjoy, coming to office every day, Monday to Friday? Is this something that I really want? I think it will also help if we tell our youth. I think for most of non-paying schools, they don't do that. They don't know about job shadowing. So it's very hard for them to know exactly what is exactly needed out there. So I would encourage most of our youth to make a research. It's very, very important to make a research before you can enroll for any. Another thing, our youth the necessary skills. And on my side, I deal with recruitment most. They just apply for anything. Even if they applied for, let's say, for example, data capturing, they don't do the research. They don't. I will sometimes encourage them to YouTube channels, mostly ask questions for interviews. They don't prepare. I don't know if they are lazy or they don't take themselves serious, but on our side, even to find the youth, for those who doesn't have any work experience, it's very difficult. So I think even the youth that are in here listening, it's very important to do research in everything. Like today, we had interviews. Most of our youth don't know Excel. Yes, I will say it's because most of our non-paying schools don't have computers. But what are we doing to uplift yourself or to learn. There are short courses online. There are libraries where you can go to also practice or learn Excel. We have YouTube nowadays where you can also practice. So it's important, even if you are invited for interview, to prepare in advance, make a research, practice. Yeah, that's all I can say. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you very much, Sidi, for highlighting the need for young people to do more research and also volunteering, job shadowing, as you mentioned. Definitely, job exposure, job shadowing will give them the kind of expertise of figuring out exactly what the workplace is. And we know that the workplace is a very different place compared to school or home. And therefore, adjusting to a workplace takes effort in its own way. We experience that on a daily basis. So the next question I wanted to put out there, I'm not sure if Sabelo is on board, but if Sabelo is not on board, then I'll pass it over to any other of our other participants. It could be either somebody from Yes Program, or I'm not sure if Marlene from Pizza Hut is on board. I saw a message that she's joining us late. So if she's joining us late, maybe that question goes to her, because it's all about matching employers and potential employees. The matching is a very important process. And how we match the youth for jobs is something very important. This also relates, obviously, the assumption that if we think that a young person is put into a workplace, is ready for the job, does that really mean that that person is ready to be absorbed and employed? Is work experience adequate enough by itself? Ideally, I would like to ask this question to Marlene, but if she's not on board, then maybe what we could do is probably ask this question to Erica or even Farai if need be. So Erica, maybe do you want to go for it first? Take a first shot. How does absorption really relate to work experience opportunities?
Yeah, I think what people are underestimating, and I'd like to call this out, Lita spoke about fourth industrial revolution skills. Fourth industrial revolution skills are not only tech. That is just one component of what we are considering fourth revolution skills. The others are transferable skills such as communication. CD spoke about that. People come to interviews, but they cannot sell themselves. They haven't prepared adequately in order to speak. It is things like creativity, innovation, flexibility, adaptability. Those are 4 IR skills. So the avenue of constant change, of constant flexibility, adaptability, listening is a key skill. Lots of youth don't get absorbed into workplaces because they haven't clarified what exactly is it that you want me to do. Please, can you show me how to do this because I'm not clear and then I won't be able to do it correctly. So listening, speaking up, communicating effectively, and then following the processes are all skills that we have not honed enough. Our school system is also quite repetitive. It's rote learning, but the schooling system should prepare project-based learning and speaking up and that. So CD mentioned, going to the workplaces to job shadow, but there's also lots of interventions that can be done on a school level, like public speaking, or emulating workplaces, or running kind of bazaars, and the one has to do the money and the other one has to do that. So kind of running little businesses and fates and stuff like that. Those are all interventions at school that can better prepare our youth for the workplaces. Simultaneously, Atul, I really believe that every workplace needs to be equipped in order to host young people. And the workplaces need to say that I will make a position available, or I will have someone over there who will do induction properly. We have young people going into work environments with no formal induction, no proper do's and don'ts of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And how are they supposed to know if that work readiness kind of component is not done? So I really think there is a call to action for corporate South Africa, or for every business owner, to say we have a responsibility to take young people in. We have a responsibility to upskill them, reskill them, provide other opportunities for learning in order for them to be more employable to anybody else there in the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Erica. Obviously, there's a need for change. And in fact, the YES program itself was one of those felt needs. And the intervention has obviously been put in place with a fair amount of political and corporate support. I want to probably take this question to Farai by saying, Farai, we know that some things are working and some things are not working evidently enough. So what is it that we now need to, in your mind, do differently? And I'm also putting this question open for other youth who are also, we have now got 75 participants, which is an awesome success for the organizational team at the back. Compliments to you before even I close. 75 is decent in today's times in terms of participation. It only highlights the nature of the topic that we are discussing, but we are here to find solutions. So Farai, coming back, what can we do differently? And for those others who are before Farah going to come in on board, please, this is an open platform. So use the chat and type in your thoughts on what can we do differently in terms of making this youth employability aspect work better. Farah.
Thanks, Atul. I think that, so to answer your question, let's do it one by one. Listen, sound there. So firstly, with the corporates.
Sorry, Farai, just pause 1 minute. Let's just mute everybody again. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Super. So I think that so there has to be some action that's taken from each of us. From the corporates, there has to be this realization that youth employment and other social matters is not just the government's responsibility, it is everyone's responsibility. And there are various interventions and ways to be involved in how we can effectively solve the crisis. You've got your YES program, you've got your CETAs, you've got your internship. So there's so many mechanisms with which to solve the crisis. One of the newer ones is called the Collective X, which actually looks at how do we address the digital skills gap and how do we get strong corporates within the ICT space involved so that they can look at how we can really upskill young people in sustainable ways. So there's a lot that is happening on the corporate front, but definitely more has to be done so that we can ensure that these issues of youth unemployment are things of the past. When we look at it from the government side, there are a lot of initiatives which are happening within the government. You've got the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention, which is doing really great work to actually work amongst ecosystem players to say, let's learn from one another, let's share what the different initiatives that everyone is running. I think a key aspect there is how do we make these programs sustainable? And I think that's always the worry with the programs which are launched by the government. It's that they often lack that element of sustainability, but that also makes sense because of the fact that we want to ensure that as many young people are as upskilled as possible. But we shouldn't have programs where you've got a youth that's upskilled for a few months and then is unemployed once again. How do we ensure that as we transition young people from learning to earning, they effectively move? So they've learned something, they've gained the work experience, they're now earning, and they are then solidified within that role. For the NGO partners that we have on the ground, we have to make sure that there is more collaboration happening between NGO partners. The reality at the moment is that because youth unemployment is such a crisis within the country and also on the continent as well, funding for youth employment initiatives is saturated. So a lot of your partners are all competing for the same pool of funding, but there's value in doing things like this between Youth at Work and BizFarm as well, and seeing how you leverage each other's assets so that you can really extend and multiply your impact while saving on resources as well, because this could have easily been 2 separate webinars covering the same points for discussion, but then taking more resources from you both. So how do we channel the collaboration amongst NGO partners more? How do we share best practices with one another? How do you do joint proposals for funding so that you can maximize the reach that you want and multiply your impact? Lastly, for young people, and I must say, Lita said it so well, that young people are not lazy. I think young people are misinformed about what opportunities exist. And we are misinformed about opportunities because either one, we don't have enough exposure to the opportunities, or two, we are not asking questions to be able to find out about these opportunities. And so my call to every young person who is on this webinar today is, one, make sure that you are updating your LinkedIn profile. And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, quickly make one after this session. And then be aware of what is happening within your network, be aware of what others are doing, because the exposure on LinkedIn to different platforms is so significant. Two, if you are in a job at the moment, or a work experience, internship, learnership, whatever it is, the fact that you are getting solid experience is incredible. Do your best. Make sure that every single day you perform your absolute best so that you can reap the benefits of that experience, because it's often your overachievers who are then absorbed into the workplace because they've brought something different. And with a country and a continent that has got huge levels of youth unemployment, having an opportunity at the moment is actually a privilege. So how do we then make the most out of that so that we can then grow? And then lastly, to young people, volunteer. And if you've got an idea of a business in your mind, your business does not have to be a Google or a Microsoft or an Accenture for you to start it. It must just be something that you can find or have financial means, social impact, and go for it. And I've been so blessed in my journey to see what young people have done. But you have to believe in yourself, you have to learn and stay informed, and you have to show up fully every day.
Awesome, Farah, that was very insightful. And I think definitely the LinkedIn partnership, the LinkedIn profile is very important. I'm very tempted to share with you something which happened yesterday evening. And I had gone for an open day at UKZN, and the competition was primarily to, put in on your LinkedIn profile, the profile of the event, which I did. And look what I got. This was a book about youth entrepreneurship presented by the author herself. So definitely LinkedIn is where people go to find for the right people. If you find them there, wonderful. But most people, and at BizFarm, what we try to do is get all our interns to also make their LinkedIn profile. And in fact, today morning, one of the things we were doing is trying to get professional pictures, because otherwise people make funny faces, pose in a very interesting way. And that's not what employers want to see. So yeah, very interesting times. But obviously, Farah, you also hinted on partnerships, collaborations, and I think these are the buzzwords which we are all here to explore about. We've got 15 more minutes left, so maybe Erica, in your experience of what partnerships work, what partnerships don't work, how can people bring different things together, all in the pursuit of making our youth employable? How have you seen successful partnerships make it happen, Erica?
Thank you. I would like to use Lita as an example of a successful partnership. So Lita was on the YES program at AVA. He was placed at a school, and the YES program came to him in, and we said, Lita, where's your job? And Lita was like, no, I don't want a job. I'm going to open my own business. So we then went, okay, what does that look like? And it did take some while for him to have his ideation stage, really look at it. But his passion for reading, his passion for the library, the Lotion mobile library service, just constantly went on. And I kept on saying to him, Lita, you cannot make money from pushing books around the place. Nobody's going to pay you to read those books. But Lita persisted, and he went down into, if you can't read, how can I help you to read? And so he's partnered with us on our profiler to see that he can identify the learning gaps and skills gaps, and then help that learner to read. So he has leveraged the partnership in a way, and Lita's gone a step forward. So I've said to him, okay, fine, we will give you another partnership example. Is HP came to us and said, we would like to donate some laptops. Where would we donate them? So we've sent some laptops to Lita, because now he's got premises, he's got a room with laptops, and he has got the technology that's needed in order to train the community and give them exposure to the technology and the tools and the systems that are around. But that needs to be paid for. So he's gone out and he's looked for potential funders, put them in touch with us, and we've done a funding proposal, a joint funding proposal, Farai, where we said that we will accept the money, send the company the tax clearance certificate on all those things that are needed, but the beneficiary will be mobile library, and the beneficiary of that service will be the youth in the community that they are based in. So it's a highly complicated model. It's a very complex model where we are bringing all sorts of partnerships together, from those that can provide infrastructure, those that pay for the salary, those that pay for the tests. Where is the infrastructure housed? How is Lita funding his premises? And on top of that, we are also funding his staff. So we've taken another level up and said, okay, so like BizFarm, you are good host employers. How can we grow your business by giving you resources that you don't have to pay for initially, and then make your services wider known and your businesses established? So this is not a one-man game. This is definitely a whole team, a whole network, a whole complicated array of services, skills, networks, money transfers that are needed in order to really drive economic inclusivity. And I think that's what we were all talking about, is economic inclusivity. And I would like, just as a show of hands, all of you to go onto your icons and just show us who here has got a side hustle, who runs a business on the side, whether it's registered or not registered, doesn't really matter. But from all of you online, and I know some of you are sharing the computer or the phones or whatever, let's just see, just as a show of hands, how many young people are running a side hustle? Super, 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 super. I see. Okay.
We've got
9,
hands.
10, 11. Okay, lots and lots of hands, which is to the point, as Farai was saying, young people are not lazy. They are innovative, they are hardworking, and you are out there hustling for a living. If you can hustle, you can learn, because hustling means you're a survivor and you will constantly learn and adapt. And if you're adaptable and you keep on learning and you grow that network and you put your hand up constantly saying, it's me, I want to be first, I need this, I need that. That's the way we build partnerships and leverage all of this. So I'm hugely excited to see the level of entrepreneurship out there.
Awesome. Erica, I'm going to put you and Farah on the spot. And I'm also going to put our 80 participants on the spot. Can I ask Erica and Farah for you to choose from any of the hands which are up there, and we will give them an undivided attention platform of 80 participants to pitch their business in 1 minute. And if you decide to choose 2 people, that's fine. We've got a couple of minutes extra. So 1 minute for a participant to pitch. Farah, your choice.
I'm seeing Sianda Majola.
Lovely.
So
And after that, we will have Erica's choice. Erica, who would you choose after this? Erica, you're on mute.
Sorry, Mbali and Lovo.
Lovely. So let's go. Pitchers, if you're ready, go for it.
Hi, how's everyone? Hope you're all well. My name is Sianda Machola. I'm currently working part-time with Hisense after I was in the YES program at Pulusong Hospital, but I managed to basically speak my way into being in the IT office and kind of created my own job in being a tech support consultant. So basically, my business comes from now being in the sales industry and noticing that not a lot of people are clued up on technology as a whole, even operating their own TVs. So I thought that, I could offer my own services as a tech support specialist, whether you need a TV setup, whether you need your phone setup or um, computer issues, because I'm very good with Windows and Mac OS operating systems. So I use those skills that I've gained over the years in sales and administration, even sound engineering. I use that to inform my decisions and how I sell to my customers as well, and how I explain certain concepts and link different ways to make my clients understand what their issue is and how I'm going to help them solve it. So, yes, that is what I do as my side hustle.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Give it
Let's
up.
see
Give it up.
some hands. Let's see some reactions and claps. Let's see some reactions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Erika, I'm trying to recall who was the choice that you made, and can we have that person pitch, please?
Mbali, are you ready? Mbali and Lovo?
Yeah, come on, Bali. I know you're not so shy.
And if you can put your camera on, that would be great too.
Bali, you're
But
going
there's no
once.
need for you being scared. She typed in the chat and she said she's scared to talk. So is it fine if she can type?
Farah, this is, sorry, Erika, this is your call if you'll accept this.
Mbali, like we just said, it will be very nice for you to share in a group. If you are scared to talk, how are you presenting your business out there?
Yeah, you've got to break the ice and you're amongst friends. So give it up, even if it's for a 15-20 second thing. Tell us, what do you do, Mbali?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, Mbali.
Okay, I can't hear myself. So, hi, my name is Mbali. So my side hustle is that I sell eggs, né? And I also sell meat bones in my extra time. But then, as I said, I do it only online. So people order on WhatsApp, and then I deliver. Yes.
Fantastic. I think you've tried well and broken the ice, so you definitely deserve a good round of applause. Well done. And I think these are the kind of skills which we need to find platforms and methods to break the ice, to become bolder and sell more digitally stuff. So colleagues, we've got 7 minutes going. And before I wrap up in the last 3 minutes, I'm going to please ask our panelists to go around quickly and share some closing remarks before we pack up, because we started on time, we will close on time. We're extremely disciplined with ourselves and our time. So can I please ask Farah, Erika, and Litha and Shidi to go in that order, please?
Great. So some final remarks from my side is that, as young people, we have to be aware of what are the opportunities out there. And so we can be aware of what jobs there are out there, and there are various job boards you can check out. LinkedIn is one of them, looking as well at JobJack, PNet, SA Youth. There are so many which are out there, so that you can find out ways that you can enhance the employability that you've got. And also, if you are on the program for Yes, don't wait until the end of the program to start finding a job. Start working with Youth at Work and BizFarm, so that from about month 10, you're actively looking for what employment can look like for you. The other tip to also share is make sure that your skills align with what's seen as the skills of the future. The World Economic Forum releases stats every year of what are the top skills to have. And this year, their top skills are analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, motivation, and curiosity. And if you think about those skills, many of these are all soft skills. Resilience, curiosity, motivation, these are all skills that we have inside that we just need to realize. And so make sure that you've got the skills which the market is looking for, which include both technical skills and soft skills, and always stay alert on what opportunities are out there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Farai. Yeah, I would like to just leave you with a message to say that we believe in you. We believe in young people. We believe in your tenacity, your resilience, putting yourself out there, and definitely your creativity. I mean, selling eggs and making a business out of that means you need to have chickens that lay eggs, and you need to have houses where the chickens are in, and you need to be highly organized in order to feed them every day, and disciplined, and all of those things which add in. So that is not something that you should be shy about. It's something that you can really be proud about. The other thing is the value of work. We understand that work is a vehicle of liberation. Work is a vehicle for freedom. Work is an expression of purpose. and work is an expression of your talent and your gifts. So having really, one, respecting yourselves, growing yourselves, developing yourselves, to looking at what value can I add in the world? What work can I do? Because work is the ticket of economic inclusivity and really being independent and creating that freedom for yourself, that feeling good at night and that purpose. Thank you. Thank you for everybody for participating, and also all the panelists for being here. Really highly, highly appreciate you. Over
Wow.
to Lee.
Yeah, and yeah, man. To all the young fellows out there, man. I think it's our time now. You know, especially for the African continent, we've been like really ignored for quite some time, and now that we are starting up and we're exposing ourselves to these opportunities, it's about time that we show the world that who we are. Number one, and secondly, I think it's important to believe in ourselves. You know, most of the time as young people, we always wanna go for the easy way, for the shortcut. You know, let's just ignore that. You know, let's now work hard for what we want. You know, and for me, you all know that I always like to share the chant. So I would love you to just follow me and say, I'm great, I'm strong, I'm smart, and I'm loved. For the last time, I'm great, I'm strong, I'm smart, and I'm loved.
And I'm loved.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome. Shidi.
Okay, in short, I will encourage young people to communicate, ask questions if they don't understand something, and mostly important, make a research. Always, if you don't understand something, go to Google, research. Yes, that's all I can say. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed being part of the seminar. I also I've learned a lot. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. I have one question here from Zinsley. So I'm going to give Zinsley exactly 1 minute to come on board to ask a question. Zinsley's question is, when are we getting paid? Which is a very relevant question. But I think that's a question which I will probably leave out of this webinar for now. And we'll leave it for you to directly contact your supervisor or your youth at work coordinator. It's something that we can do later. As far as the
Sorry,
Atul,
Atul, before you close, I just want to know that I really think it's very important that we all stay aware of what's happening in the world. And if there's one super woman at the moment to follow, I'd like you all to please look out for Mia Motley. Mia Motley is the president of Barbados. She's an amazing woman, and she's leading transformation and change in many, many levels throughout the world. So if you want something to YouTube or want somebody to follow, look at Mia Motley.
Fantastic. So panelists, thank you very much on behalf of Youth at Work and BizFarm. You've been a phenomenal contributor, and this was for others, the first of its kind. And we need your comments, we need your support to know whether if you're doing it right, are we doing it well or not. The attendance register is being monitored through Deneo, and since this call is being recorded, I would imagine that the participants and their attendance is also being registered. So thanks to technology, we are able to get most of this information in place. We've done this as an experiment. It seems to be working. It seems to be working for you. And we would like your input in how can we make forums like these work. I know you have forums on Thursday, but that's a separately different matter. So with that, almost on the dot of 3 o'clock, I want to say a big thank you to everybody. Have a fantastic day ahead, and may the force be with you. Thank you so much.
And
everybody.
wait. We always end by everybody unmuting. We want to hear everybody say goodbye and hello. And Deneo is going to put the link still in the Teams chat. Thank you, everybody. Let's hear you. Thank you, Farah. Thank you, others.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, Atul.
Ube ba ile ka kwa furumu se. Go dula furumu. Rubela kenargiga zabu fedel mawan. The weekend. Baru saga jefo.